Hi everyone and welcome to The Impact. I'm your host, Rachel Pether. As part of NEST Summit Climate Week, I'm very excited to welcome Mr. Yusuf Al-Ali to today's show. Yusuf is the Executive Director at Masdar Clean Energy, where he's responsible for their strategic growth in the areas of investment, greenfield development and operations for large-scale renewable energy projects, which we'll be discussing in further detail shortly. Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Rachel, for the introduction. Thank you very much also for giving me the opportunity to speak in this event. To start about Masdar, Masdar is a company that was established in 2006. We are owned by the government of Abu Dhabi through Mubadala investment company. Our only shareholder is Mubadala. We are very active in two important pillars that is related to sustainable development. The first pillar is the sustainable real estate, where we develop Masdar City. And the other pillar that I manage is the clean energy unit. So what we do in the clean energy unit is basically we are developers of clean energy projects. We started early in 2006. Today, we sit on a capacity of 2,500 megawatt net, and this translates to around 8-9 gigawatts of gross capacities all over the world. So Masdar Clean Energy exists in more than 30 countries. We have a very diverse portfolio, diverse when it comes to geographies. So we have almost, I would say, close to 2 gigawatts in the US itself, going to Europe, where we are very active in wind energy and solar, concentrated solar in between UK, Spain, and Eastern Europe also. We are also able to establish presence in new markets in Central Asia. We exist naturally in the Arab world and Middle East. And we are also have we established presence in Australia and Southeast Asia and Indonesia. So we are very diverse when it comes to the geography, and we are also very diverse when it comes to technology. So we have experience in development and operations of concentrated solar technology, photovoltaic technology. We are developing new ideas in solar like floating photovoltaic. We were the first one who developed other CSP technologies like the tower. When it comes to wind, we are also very diversified, onshore wind, offshore wind, floating offshore wind. And we also have experience in developing other technologies, something like carbon capture and something like waste to energy projects. Maybe it's conventional technologies for you, but for us in this part of the world, the Middle East, is a new innovative approach that Masdar is taking. So Masdar, in a simple word, Masdar is an international developer of clean energy projects.
Fabulous. That's a great overview. Thank you, Yusuf. And I'd like to dive down a bit deeper into the US side of that equation. Masdar recently made its first solar investment in the US through a landmark deal with EDF. Can you talk me through that deal specifically and why that was important to you?
So our presence in the US started last year with our acquisition in Texas and New Mexico for the two power plant, two wind projects that we have in New Mexico. The transaction that we are talking about now is this year transaction happened with our partner EDF Renewables. So we acquired 1.6 gigawatts of clean energy portfolio. This is the gross capacity. We acquired 50% stake in these projects, and it's really a diverse portfolio, and it includes solar and wind. So we have 3 utility-scale wind farms in Nebraska and Texas with a total capacity of 800 megawatt of wind projects. And we have also a portfolio of photovoltaic projects that are mainly in California. And some of them are using the storage technologies.
And so why is the US such an important market for you?
US, when it comes if you look at the markets all over the world, the different markets, so the biggest accessible market in the world is the US market. It's the only market where you can deploy investments and acquire large-scale projects, so large-scale investments. So this is, for me, US is the largest accessible market in a single country. Of course, the US comes with its own requirements and conditions. It's a huge country where you have different markets, you have different states that each has its own conditions. So for us, strategically, in order to grow and become one of the top renewable energy companies in the world, we need to be present in the US. US is the biggest accessible market. Of course, there are other markets, but are not accessible like the US. US is very liquid, easy to enter to the US and easy to exit from the US. So all the international developers that are the leading in the world now, all of them have a huge presence in the US.
And I know you mentioned Texas, but I'd just like to dive in a bit deeper into California. Last month, we obviously saw the state having large blackouts, and there's been some suggestions that renewables and energy storage facilities might be to blame for the strain on the grid. But then on the other side, you have, industry representatives that state that these two actually can solve such issues. So how do you see this tension playing out?
I think for me, the expansion in renewable energy in general, all over the world is driven, first of all, with the objectives and targets to be green, to reduce our carbon footprint. This is the first objective. The second is the economics of these projects. These projects are really very attractive economically, and in most of the cases all over the world, not only in California, we demonstrated that our cost is below grid parity in many situations, many cases. The technology, yes, we acknowledge that photovoltaic technology is an intermittent technology, so intermittent source of generation, but that technology evolved a lot. Today, in many of our projects, we use also batteries where we can dispatch electricity at any time. So I'm not into that situation exactly. I'm not into what led to that blackout, but I'm confident that renewable energy is able to provide solutions that allows a generator to regulate that generation and provide electricity at all time without any interruption. So with the batteries cost these days, very attractive, I think we can provide electricity at all time. We can regulate the generation in a good manner that doesn't allow blackouts to happen.
And when you increase your dependence on renewable energy, you obviously, you need the battery storage facilities to go alongside that. Is this an area that you're looking to invest in further?
When renewable energy started in this region, it was completely new. So the penetration of renewable energies was very low. But from day one, as a company, Masdar, we were focusing on a parallel track on the development of storage technologies. So we were one of the first to invest in projects that have storage. I'm talking about 2008. So our projects that we built in Spain, all of them have storage capacity, thermal storage capacities. So Khima Solar project have 15 hours of thermal storage capacity. It can generate electricity day and night in summertime. Doesn't stop at all. The other also projects that we built in Spain have storage capacities. So from the early days, we focus on developing our capabilities on thermal storage and batteries as well. We invested in Batwind projects. It's a battery project in the UK, and also the projects we have in partnership developed by EDF Renewables also have batteries capabilities. This is the future. If we want to have a higher penetration of renewable energy in the grid, we need to focus a lot on developing the battery solution. Thanks to the automobility industry, the batteries are getting developed more and more because of the demand there. Cost is becoming low and low. I think now we are reaching a level where using batteries makes sense for these projects. To give you an example, so in certain locations in the US itself, you have congestion in the grid. You cannot dispatch all the time. Batteries can provide a solution. So it's a win-win solution because developers, they don't want to waste, they don't want to stop generation, they want to generate all the time. So we can store this electricity during the congestion time to dispatch it at other times where electricity prices are better and congestion is much less.
Excellent. And you've touched on some of these technologies in the previous questions, but just to close, where are you seeing the greatest opportunities in renewables from a global perspective?
I think renewable is, started of being one of potential provider of electricity with its own nature of being intermittent. Now is being evolved and developed to provide full solutions. So renewable energy can provide a reliable source of electricity. So the opportunity is more on the batteries. So we focus a certain time on developing projects with thermal storage. But I think with the evolution that happened with the batteries, I think batteries are winning. And all the future projects in the next few years will always have storage capabilities, batteries. I'm more focused on the region. I'm not expert in the US itself in particular, although we invested in solar projects with batteries, but I'm talking about my region here in the Middle East. In the Middle East, batteries will become a must, and we've seen in the recent bids, auctions in the region, the clients are asking for storage capabilities.
Excellent. Well, as someone who lives in the region, I can say firsthand that what you've done in terms of renewable is really fantastic. So thank you so much, Mr. Yousef. It's been a pleasure having you join us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you very much.